Check this out.
And now, from Louisville, Kentucky, the horse capital of the world and sports junkies' finest, giving you wagering advice and sports analysis. It's On the Switch with your host, GenoG.
From anywhere across the globe, welcome back to On the Switch Show. I'm your host, GenoG. Again, as always, with my boy Travis on the back end. We're talking about today the World Cup group stage getting ready to end, going into the knockout stage. A couple of groups are already solidified their spots, as well as the Ohio Derby that was ran this past Saturday from Thistledowns. We have a couple of thoughts when it comes to that. Core Beliefs, we'll start with this. Core Beliefs wins the Ohio Derby, the $500,000 race from Thistledowns. Lone Sailor ran second. What was interesting is the fact this was the common horse. If you didn't like the two horses from the Derby, that being Flame Away and Lone Sailor, Core Beliefs was a common pick around the handicappers that we follow on Twitter or that blogs that we might follow, whatever the case may be. Core Beliefs was in a lot of tickets that people played. Core Beliefs did take down the $500,000 race. I am really excited about the future of this one. I do think this one's going to be more of a mile and a 16th perhaps. I do not think that this one can get a mile and a quarter like the Breeders' Cup Classic, but it would be interesting to see where the connections go with Core Beliefs, the winner of the 2018 Ohio Derby from Thistledowns. Congratulations to all the connections with that. When it comes to the World Cup, I put out my selections a long time ago prior to the World Cup, and I sent out an update via Twitter when it comes to all of my selections for group play. What was interesting is the fact that I thought there was a couple of groups that were just really simple. It was going to go one way and one way only, and Group A was kind of like that. Uruguay was by far the team to beat. We told everybody on our first show when we talked about the World Cup that Uruguay would be the team to beat in that group. We really thought that Russia would finish second, and that's exactly what happened, as Uruguay, who played Russia just a couple of days ago, they really manhandled them, showed them, hey, look, I know y'all have had a great run, but we're Uruguay, okay? Luis Suarez has been just absolutely fantastic the entire tournament. What's interesting now is going into the knockout round, they'll play Portugal first. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo, Luis Suarez, I will tell you this, Uruguay is much better than Portugal is as a whole, but sometimes the best player in the world just gets things done. I'm not saying that I'm selecting Portugal, but it's an interesting matchup of two teams ranked in the top 10 in the world. And it will probably not be the only match in which you'll see two top 10 teams play each other. But I would lean more towards Uruguay, just the fact that they've played so well so far in group play and in this entire tournament against basically a one-man team in Portugal. But that is one interesting tidbit as far as the knockout round goes. But let's go over some of our selections. Like I said, Group A, we had Uruguay in the first spot, Russia in the second spot, so we got that correct. Group B was the same way. It was two teams and two teams only. It was Spain and Portugal, then the other two teams. It didn't matter. We had Spain on top, which did happen. Portugal in second, that happened as well. Next, we have Group C, France and Denmark. We had France number one, Denmark second. That, again, also going to be 100% correct. Group D was kind of like a little bit of a small upset. I thought it was going to be a common pick. I actually didn't see this that often from a lot of sports bettors who were betting group winners. We had Croatia winning Group D over Argentina. That's exactly what happened. All ended yesterday in quite bizarre fashion. Croatia was automatically going to win the group no matter what. Didn't matter. Whether they lost, tied, won, the actual end of the score didn't matter. Croatia was winning the group. It was all about second place. Argentina played Nigeria. Argentina, if perhaps they won, would get the second spot. Anything worse than a win, they were going to be out of the knockout round for the first time ever. Ever. Argentina, if they've made the World Cup, has always made the knockout round. This would be the first time ever that they did not make the knockout round, but they did escape with an 89th minute goal against Nigeria. So we had Croatia 1, Argentina 2. We got that correct as well. Group E is the one that we kind of fell flat on our face. We mentioned in our very first podcast when we made our selections that Mexico was an interesting team for a couple of reasons. One, the fact that they were 9-1 to win the group was just crazy. The team has so much talent. They are so well coached. They have one of the best players in the world in Chicharito. They were an interesting play if you wanted to play them to win the group. Now they have all the capabilities to get that done today against, I think, Germany plays South Korea. Sorry, I'm talking about Group F, but Germany plays South Korea. Mexico plays Sweden. That's who they play, Sweden. And it's interesting because this group could all change like that in a flash. If Sweden beats Mexico and then Germany beats South Korea, which they should beat them 4-0, 5-0, whatever. But if everybody wins, Sweden and Germany, and Mexico loses, everybody will have 6 points. Everybody will have 6 points. So then it's goal differential, and then goals scored, and then head-to-head matches. And, there's all kinds of these different things to where one team is going to be left out. Now, to me, I think Mexico ties Sweden today, which would make them the number one spot. Germany will for sure take care of business against South Korea. Like I said, 4-0, 5-0, something like that. So I like Mexico to win the group, Germany to finish second, which is switched. I have Germany winning the group originally and Mexico finishing second. But in Group B, we'll go back to that. We had Brazil number 1. And again, when you're talking about crazy, right? What a crazy group this has been. Brazil starts out with a draw. Then they pick up a win, but now they have to beat Serbia. If they don't beat Serbia, they're in trouble of missing the group stage as well. I mean, this is the most craziest World Cup when it comes to favorites not really being favorites. I mean, extremely vulnerable, including Germany. Germany lost to Mexico. 1-0. You're talking about a team that was probably an overwhelming favorite to win the World Cup. They lost 1-0. 1-0. So anyway, Brazil, they play Serbia today. Again, needing a win. Serbia already has 3 points. Brazil has 4. So a loss is catastrophic. Catastrophic, as Switzerland, who drew with Brazil as well, draws Costa Rica. Costa Rica is going to get smashed. It's going to be 3-0, 4-0 in favor of Switzerland. So Brazil cannot lose. If they lose, Switzerland will be number 1, Serbia will be number 2. A tie or a win, obviously, will get Brazil through. And depending on goal differential, like I said, will depend on who's 1 and who's 2. But most likely should be Brazil and Switzerland going through. Finally, couple of groups. One that was almost like Group B. We're talking about Group H. That includes our pick to win the World Cup, Belgium and England. They are by far and away in 2 games the best 2 teams in that group without question. Harry Kane for England has been just absolutely phenomenal. Belgium scoring at will while not giving up any goals. They're the only team to not give up a goal. So they play tomorrow 2 o'clock. They'll play to see who wins that group, which could be extremely vital when it comes to progressing through the entire World Cup when it comes to the knockout stage. That could be extremely vital, as depending on what happens today with Brazil, possibly, you could have one of these teams almost throw off to avoid a catastrophic side, to get on one side rather than the other. Now, I don't know if anybody will play like that, but it's possible if you want to avoid one side, which would include Brazil, Portugal, Uruguay. a bunch of heavy hitters on one side, you could possibly see Belgium or England throw off or play down to try and lose to get on the weaker side. Although they have to play a group winner, they know that they're going to be better than that team, which is going to be the winner of Group H, which we had Poland. Poland hasn't won a game. To be honest with you, I don't think they've scored a goal, and we had them to win the group. So obviously we were wrong. But with that being said, we did say if perhaps you wanted to take a long shot to win a group, we had Japan 14-1. 14-1 to win the group. They are currently leading the group, and tomorrow they have all the chances in the world. If they win the group at 14-1. 14-1. So Colombia is also in that group. Colombia should take care of business tomorrow against Senegal. But again, Senegal has been a team consistent, progressing forward, getting the ball in the last fourth. I would expect that game to be high scoring. 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 4-3, something crazy, big score. So I like the over in that game, and we'll get to that tomorrow. You'll see that posted on my Twitter. But Japan plays Poland. Like I said, Poland's been awful. Now, they could play with a lot of pride, beat Japan, which could make things really interesting, as Senegal has 4 points, Japan has 4 points, and if Japan loses to Poland, Colombia beats Senegal. Now it's Colombia number 1, Senegal number 2, and Japan's completely out. So if Japan plays the way that they have against a team like Poland, who has played the way that they have, Japan should have no problems winning this game, winning the group outright, and taking the number 1 seed. But when it comes to the actual bracket itself, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, Uruguay will face Portugal already. How about this? First round matchup, first knockout round. France plays Argentina. Now, to me, these are two of the, what you would consider, quote unquote, favorites, right, that have a chance to win, but I think are the two teams that are the worst two teams. The winner of that will play Uruguay, Portugal. The bottom, and this is where it gets interesting. 1E, which is the winner of Group E, could be Brazil. The winner of Group G is going to be at the very bottom of this, which could be Belgium. So you could have Belgium, Brazil, France, Uruguay, Portugal, Argentina, loaded side. Loaded. On the other side, how about these four teams? These four teams have already locked up. Spain plays Russia. Ooh, what a doozy. Then Croatia plays Denmark. Now, come on. Let's think about this for a second. You're telling me that if I lose, right? You're thinking about Belgium and England. If I throw off and I lose, you're telling me I'm going to be on that side of the bracket, although I might have to play Colombia or something my first game? I mean, you have to consider it. You know, I'm not saying you should throw off, but I mean, you know, I'm sitting here thinking, perhaps, maybe you do throw off. So, with just a couple of games left in group play, going to be extremely interesting to see what happens today's games, which could affect tomorrow's games when it comes to the bracket as a whole, and if perhaps Belgium and England wants to just kind of lay low. So, I don't really particularly like anything today. If perhaps I were to play anything, I think Brazil tie is a really good play. You're going to see that at around 4-1. I've seen a couple of sites have it up to 4.4-1. So I do like Brazil tie today if perhaps you want to play something. But World Cup, please stay with us because it's going to get extremely interesting in knockout round. There are going to be a lot of teams that I'm going to be playing against, including Russia. I think Russia is a team that is not going to show up in their first round game, especially against Spain. They're going to give up 3 or 4 goals. They might score 1. They're going to get absolutely blown out. That's going to be a team that I'm going to play against. I'm also going to play against Argentina. They've looked like shit the entire time. The entire group stage, they have looked like shit. Literally got lucky to be in the knockout round. Extremely lucky. They shouldn't be there. It should be Nigeria. But anyway, that being said, France and Spain are going to be two teams that I will probably heavily bet, just because the teams that they're playing are just, in my opinion, just miserable. But stay with us, like I said, when it comes to the World Cup. Stay in with our Twitter at OnTheSwitch1. We'll be posting selections from myself, as long as Travis, who might have some opinions as well. But lastly, what I want to get to is the closing week of Churchill Downs. Churchill Downs, this is the last week of racing. They'll race up until Saturday. After Saturday, they're closed until the September meet. September meet is something of brand new. September meet only lasts, I think, I could be wrong, like 16 racing days or like 14 racing days or something like that. They did this a couple of years ago to, when Ellis Park went down, or when Ellis Park says, hey, I can't, we're not getting any horses, we're not making any money, whatnot. Churchill Downs said, hey, we'll take over. And so Churchill Downs now runs in September. Along with September, let go at the end of September, the beginning of October, and then boom, Keeneland. Keeneland comes up. And once Keeneland's done, guess what? Back to Churchill. And for this year, especially, huge because it's Breeders' Cup. Breeders' Cup comes to Churchill Downs 1st of November like it always does. But super excited about that. But unfortunately, super sad the fact that this is the last week of Churchill Downs. I won't be posting many selections, if any. I am going to be taking a small vacation. So I am going to be touch base with you all, obviously, as I always do. Travis and I both. But I won't be around to make deep analysis as I would want to. But I am super excited. Del Mar is getting ready to start. Saratoga is getting ready to start. These are two of my favorite tracks to handicap. Long shots, big prices, pick fours that pay just astronomical. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I always get in touch with, I guess he's my uncle or second uncle, second cousin. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but my grandfather's cousin, his son, so whatever that is to me, he lives out in San Diego. He lives no more than 20 minutes from Del Mar. I talk to him every single day about selections, what I think, blah, blah, blah. It was about 5 or 6 years ago. I gave him a $96 pick six ticket that he played, and he hit it for $214,000. $96 play, hit it for $214,000. We're looking to give that to you all again this year, as now we're giving out free analysis as we always do. So we're super excited about Del Mar, super excited about Saratoga and all the stakes races there. A lot of great things happening heading in through the summer to the fall, heading up to the Breeders' Cup, which is going to be live from Churchill Downs here in Louisville, Kentucky. I hope all of you all stay with us. I hope all of you all stay with us here at On The Switch. We love you all more than anything. Get at us at On The Switch 1 on Twitter. Go to our iTunes, subscribe to us, takes 2 seconds, give us a 5-star rating, leave us a message or a question that you would like answered here on the show. And as always, from Travis and I, here at On The Switch, we love you and we'll talk to you all soon.
On The Switch.